Top stories at the Sawa. Farmers flee their homes in the Boer and the Afghan government plans to meet the Taliban. Good afternoon. With the news at 5, I'm Lulu Gabu. Farm owners are voluntarily fleeing their homes in Slanghoek Valley near Worcester in the Boerland as a huge veld fire fanned by strong winds approaches their properties. The fire has been burning out of control since last night. Bangskloof Mountain Pass between Wellington and Ceres has been closed due to poor visibility. 15 fire engines, 150 ground personnel and 3 helicopters are trying to douse the flames. There has been minimal damage to the local vineyards at this stage and no reports of injuries. It's unclear what caused the fire. Southern Cape Police say they are building up a strong case that will lead to the arrest and prosecution of those responsible for a vicious dog attack that killed a 73-year-old man. Fumanegi Lembovane from Tembaletu near George was attacked by 7 dogs while walking in an open field last week. His family wants compensation from government. Mbovane was buried today. He suffered bite marks to more than 50% of his body. Police spokesperson Malcolm Podgie.
Well, of course, we regret the death of the 73-year-old man that had been killed so viciously. However, the investigation is quite in an advanced stage. Currently, we had taken all affidavits that's needed to be submitted to the state prosecutor, who would, of course, assist us by making a decision whether anybody will be prosecuted or not.
The South African Revenue Service says over 4 million tax returns have been filed for the 2010-2011 tax season, the highest number in the country's history. SARS spokesperson Adrian Lakay says the returns were filed by individuals, trusts and provisional taxpayers. Lakay says at the corresponding time for the 2010 tax season, SARS had received just more than 3.5 million returns. This year's figure represents a 13.8% increase in the number of returns submitted. Provisional taxpayers still have until midnight on Tuesday this week to submit returns by e-filing. Former President Nelson Mandela has arrived at his Houghton home in the north of Johannesburg. The roads around Madiba's house, which police had earlier closed off to traffic, have now been opened. Earlier today, Madiba was taken in a road convoy from his rural home at Qunu to Mthatha Airport in the Eastern Cape and was then flown to Gauteng. The presidency has said the move was due to maintenance work being done at his home in Qunu. It's not clear how long Madiba will stay in Johannesburg. And further afield, South Africa has won another honor at the African Union Summit underway in Ethiopia. Last night, former Deputy President Baleka Mbete was unanimously voted onto the panel of eminent persons of the AU. Again this afternoon, South African science professor Mariki Labuskaghni was voted the overall winner of the AU's Kwame Nkrumah Scientific Award. A judge read out the results.
From 12 to 16 December 2011, the jury of the Kwame Nkrumah Scientific Awards of the African Union met at the headquarters of the Commission and proclaimed in the area of life and earth science Professor Marike Ten Labuschagne of South Africa, agrobiologist, head of the Division of Plant Breeding at Bloemfontein University.
And finally, still on international news, the Afghan government plans to meet the Taliban in Saudi Arabia in the next few weeks. The talks, the first of their kind, would be a major milestone in efforts to find a negotiated solution to the Afghan conflict. The BBC's Quinton Somerville reports.
The landmark meeting between the Afghan government and the Taliban is expected to take place in the coming weeks in Saudi Arabia. That would preempt American-led peace efforts, allowing a Taliban political office in the Gulf state of Qatar. President Karzai was angered by US and Qatari efforts to begin talks without fully consulting his government. So Afghan officials are trying to establish direct contact with the insurgents, bypassing the Americans. They've asked Islamabad to hand over a number of Taliban leaders and assist in establishing links with the Taliban's Leadership Council